The next speaker is the Honourable Burke.
Oh, flames.
Madam Speaker, this bill is asking us to pour water into a bucket riddled with bullet holes, quite literally. Moshe Lefuma was murdered this weekend. He was a DA councillor working at the Maluti Apofong local municipality. He was shot in the head, killed together with his mother. Last week, our friend and patriot, Ntate Lefuma, was doing his job, which is also our job. He was holding the government accountable at a press conference, where he pointed out how the municipality failed to investigate over 8 billion rand in unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. We have seen councillors and civil servants inside provincial departments killed. And so I ask, how long before the assassins come for us parliamentarians? Madam Deputy Speaker, we urge the Honourable Minister of Police to bring to book those that would treat my home province of the Free State as the Wild West. We trust that this case will be investigated with all the resources that the murder of a anti-corruption councillor demands. That this will not be yet another unsolved murder, all too common in rural South Africa. So today, Madam Deputy Speaker, we're being asked to vote for a bill that will send more money to municipalities suffering from cadre deployment. Maluti Apofong has had an outstanding audit for the last 3 years. This means they refuse to even send financial statements.
Honourable Burke, please just take your seat. Honourable members, I have asked a few minutes ago that you please keep your conversations toned down and not shout across the floor. It is disrespectful. When other speakers are speaking, you expect them to listen. Could we please show the same kind of respect to all the speakers addressing this House and the voters and public outside? Please proceed, Honourable Burke.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's not lost on me that those that have already interrupted the growth path of this country is now trying to interrupt my speech. As I was saying, Madam Deputy Speaker, Maluti Apofong refused to even send financial statements to the Auditor General. And when a councillor then commits the cardinal sin of calling a press conference, that same week they're found dead in a pool of blood. And I wish this was an exception. But everywhere you look, except where the DA governs, local and provincial institutions are falling apart. And yet, we will vote for this bill and send them more revenue because the money that somehow doesn't get siphoned off is desperately needed by the majority of South Africans who still live in poverty. Madam Deputy Speaker, the second problem I have with the Division of Revenue Amendment Act is that the pot of revenue we will divide is far too small. When we asked for public submissions, the feedback we received from many stakeholders boiled down to the same thing. Equal Education, for instance, pointed out that we need to spend more money on schools to achieve the kind of access to learning that our Constitution demands. And COSATU argued that we need to employ more skilled people to help manage the huge infrastructure investments that our country demands. And I agree with COSATU. Not something you'd expect to hear coming from the Democratic Alliance. But hey, it's a brave canoe world. But, honourable members, we must understand why the pot is simply too small. And the reason is sitting to my left. Why don't we have more tax revenue to spend on schools? Well, perhaps the Honourable Tom Munyane could answer that question. After all, did his restructuring of SARS not facilitate industrial-scale looting by the Guptas and cost us billions that took us years to fix? How much more revenue would we have to divide had the Honourable Munyane never been the SARS Commissioner in the first place? Perhaps we should ask the Honourable Brian Molefe why Eskom fell apart under his watch, why projects ran over schedule and over budget. Perhaps he can consult with his colleague, the Honourable Siyabonga Gama, or with his new national organizer, convicted fraudster, Joe Ndlela.
Honourable Burke, please take your seat. Honourable Manyi.
Chairperson, I'd like you to rule this member in terms of the point of order, rule number 85, that the member is imputing improper motives of our members. He has named them as well. He has done two things. One, imputing improper motives, and he has cast aspersions on our members, and has even named them. Ask you to rule on that, Chair. Thank you.
No, those are facts.
Thank you, Honourable Manyi. In terms of the rules, when aspersions are cast on a member, it is required that a substantive motion be brought to the House if any allegations are made. So, Honourable Burke, I am putting it to you that please bring a substantive motion to the House if you want to make statements such as that. Thank you. You can proceed. Honourable Manyi, I have already ruled. You cannot take another point on a ruling I have already made.
No, member, your ruling is incomplete. He must withdraw up until he brings that motion. He must withdraw.
Honourable Manyi, I am going to ask the member to withdraw, but also advise him that he brings a substantive motion. Honourable Burke.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Please proceed, Honourable Michalakis. Honourable Burke, please take your seat.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, I refer you to Rule 85, which firstly says that a member cannot cast personal reflections upon a member's integrity or dignity or verbally abuse a member in any way. The member at the podium from the DA did not cast personal aspersions against the member. He referred to their track record when they were in those positions, and therefore I submit that those aren't personal aspersions. In the case of Honourable Joe Ndlela, I would submit that those aren't aspersions and that those are actually facts. Thank you.
Honourable Manyi, before I give you the opportunity, I am going to rule, which I have already ruled. Honourable Burke, please take your seat. I've not finished yet. Honourable Chief Whip of the DA. Although it was not personal aspersions being cast, it did have a reflection on the integrity, and therefore I ruled that a substantive motion must be submitted to the House, and that is my ruling. I will not entertain any further matters on that. Honourable Burke, please proceed. Correct. I have asked the Honourable Burke to withdraw.
Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, to prevent another July riot, I will withdraw my comment.
Please proceed.
Order, Chair.
Honourable Manyi. Honourable Burke, please take your seat. Honourable Manyi.
Thank you, Chair. The member must withdraw without making any preamble. He must withdraw, Chair, without making any preamble. That's your ruling. You must respect that.
Honourable Burke, please withdraw without qualifying it.
An unqualified withdrawal, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Please proceed.
As I was saying, both Eskom and Transnet.
Honourable Burke, my apologies, but the Honourable Chief Whip of the DA has a point of order. Honourable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My apologies for interrupting our member. Just for clarity, I just want to ask you, is it now unparliamentary to speak the truth in this House?
Honourable Michalakis, that is not the point. The point is, in terms of Rule 85, as you have referred to, if you do cast aspersions on the integrity.
Order.
Honourable members, I am busy giving a ruling. Honourable Reddy, that is not in terms of the rules. Please allow me to complete my point. Honourable Michalakis, the fact of the matter is that I have made this ruling and I have said to the Honourable Member that he can bring a substantive motion in this regard. It was not a ruling whether it is true or not. Honourable Reddy, I'm not going to entertain any further points on this point of order on which I have ruled. If it is not something new, I'm not going to entertain it.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I draw your attention to Rule of Order 92, 4 and 5 and 6, where it says when the presiding officer has made a ruling, no further points of order will be taken on that ruling. So I would like the Chief Whip of the DA
You are doing the same thing.
Make note of that ruling. Thank you.
Honourable Reddy, it was well within my rights to decide whether that is an additional point or not. But what you are now doing is exactly what you say shouldn't be done. So we are going to proceed now with Honourable Burke. Thank you. Please proceed, Member.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Both Eskom and Transnet have needed too much of our revenue to fix. Money we should have spent helping our people with roads, with hospitals, with ports, and with bridges. And over the last few months, we've seen daily in our committees how this party attempts to rewrite history, to promote the great lie of 9 glorious years. And I suppose if your surname is Zuma, they were glorious. But for the 60 millions of Africans who lived through them, they were a villainous hell that we are yet to escape from.
Honourable Burke,
Well, now we are out of order.
Honourable Member, please take your seat. Honourable Member. Honourable Manyi. Please proceed. What is your point?
Chairperson, clearly this member has no respect for this House and for you as the chair. Despite all your decorum attempts to try and make sure that this House is maintained, he continues to stare. Please rule on this unruly behavior of this one.
Honourable
Please,
Manyi,
Chair.
and I'm now going to rule. I will not entertain other points of order. I am now going to rule. Honourable Burke, please take your seat. Honourable Manyi, that was not a point of order. And we will now proceed. I do not entertain your point
Chair.
of order any further. You made no
He
point
mentioned-
of order.
Rule
You
92, 4, 5 and 6.
Manyi,
He
please
mentioned
take
the
your
Zuma surname. The Zuma surname is the surname of this party. He's a member. There's a member in this party with that surname. Therefore,
Honourable
Rule
Manyi,
85
take
is
your
invoked here.
Please take
He
your
has
seat.
cast aspersions.
Please take your seat. That is not a point of order. Honourable
You must
Burke, please
withdraw.
proceed. No, there is no point of order.
No one will speak here.
Honourable Member, I did not recognise you. Honourable Burke, please proceed and complete your speech.
You must withdraw, Chair. He has to withdraw. We can't allow him to speak. He must withdraw.
Madam Deputy Speaker.
That was not my ruling.
It's not surprising that a party that does not believe in the Constitution would try and impede on my freedom of speech in this House. As I was saying, while we've lost those 9 years...
He must withdraw, Chair. We are very serious about this. He must withdraw.
Honourable Member, whoever is speaking, that is not my ruling, and if you are unhappy with my rulings, please take it to the Rules Committee, as you should well know is a process within the rules. Please proceed, Honourable Burke. Honourable Reddy, I will not entertain your point. Honourable Burke, please proceed.
Order, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Reddy, I did not recognise you, and I'm not taking your point of order because you are taking points of order on points of order that I have given. Honourable Reddy, please take my decisions to the Rules Committee. Please do that. Honourable Burke, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The consequences of those 9 years are still felt. It's felt in the limited revenue.
My hand is up, Chair.
It's
Yes.
felt in the limited revenue that we're able to divide in this bill. And it's felt in the pit toilets of schools.
My hand is up,
It's
Chair.
felt in the wait while you die
Chair,
in hospital.
my hand is up.
It's
Honourable
felt in the
Member, I have not recognised any of you now. Who
But
is
you can't
speaking?
ignore my hand. You don't know the color of my hand. You can't ignore my hand. My hand is up.
Well, your hand is up. It doesn't mean that I have to recognise it immediately. What is your point?
No, thank you very much, Chair. Please, Chair, do not ignore my hand because I raised my hand and I did not open the mic. You deliberately ignored my hand. That's one. I wanted to find out if the member is willing to take a question.
Honourable Burke, would you like to take a question?
Madam Deputy Speaker, much like they did at Transnet, the MK is trying their best to derail my speech, so
Chair.
no, I will not take a question.
We will not take a question.
Because I
please.
wanted to know who is he referring to his people.
Honourable Member, he
As
did
I was
not
saying-
take a question. Honourable Burke, please proceed. I'm not entertaining any more questions. Honourable Reddy, the Honourable Member.
Madam
there at the
Deputy
back.
Speaker, it is not a new question, it's a point of order.
Honourable Reddy, if it is not a new point of order,
It is not, it's a
I
new
am
point
ruling
of
you out
order.
of order.
It's a new point of order.
What is your point of order?
Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise in terms of Rule 82, a reference to a member in respectful terms. Now, the Speaker there mentioned the surname Zuma. We have a Zuma in the House who is an honourable
Reddy,
member. He
I
has
have
not
already
referred
ruled on
to the
that
member-
point.
No, that was
If you
raised,
do
that
not
the point
want
raised,
that
no,
point-
the rule was a different rule.
No, it was
a different
exactly
rule.
the same one.
No, it was not the same rule. The rule was not mentioned, and I am mentioning the rule. It's Rule 82, and you need to rule on that.
I will
Also,
rule
in
on it,
terms of the
Honourable
rules,
Reddy, if you take your
We are
seat.
entitled to raise a point of order at any time in any debate.
Honourable
You are aware
Reddy,
of that.
Honourable Reddy,
No,
in
this
terms
member
of
is
that particular
deliberately
rule that you are
interfering with
raising
the
right
decorum
now,
of this House.
are-
And you're doing
Honourable
nothing
Speaker,
about it.
don't shout.
because I cannot hear myself because the Honourable Reddy is shouting. Honourable Reddy,
Don't be emotional, please. Don't be emotional.
Honourable Reddy, I am ruling and I have ruled on this point. And I said to the Honourable Mani, it is not a point of order. And Honourable Burke will now proceed. I've also said, please write to the Rules Committee if you have any issues regarding a ruling I have given.
Speaker, he'll have to withdraw that statement. He has to withdraw.
Madam Deputy Speaker, we cannot allow the blatant hypocrisy of the official opposition critiquing this government's financial decisions. You broke it. You cannot fix it. Worry instead about preparing for all those criminal court cases. And get out of the way of those of us capable of trying to fix this country. Honourable Deputy Speaker, a man was murdered because he was trying to stop corruption. Other men and women sit in this House implicated in corruption. And all of this has become normal. State capture is not over.
Honourable
Looters
members.
continue to haunt our government. And unfortunately,
Honourable Burke.
Hey, withdraw, Anna.
Honourable members.
You settler. Withdraw. Apartheid one.
Speaker.
You missed the apartheid.
You are the thief. The biggest damn thief. That's what you are.
You missed the apartheid
Honourable
one.
members.
Yes.
I will now mention the Honourable Manyi.
Allow Honorable Beg to.
I will get to you now, Honourable Manyi.
I can't hear you, Chair.
I will get to you. Just give me a second. I will get to you.
Okay.
Right. Let's start. I am now naming the Honourable Manyi. I am naming the Honourable Reddy. I am naming. Please sit down, Honourable Manyi, so that I can see who is next there. I am trying to see all the names, and we do know that in terms of the rules, Honourable Members, that if I do name you, I can refer you to the Powers and Privileges Committee for being totally disruptive in this here sitting. I am naming you, Mr. uMkhonto. And you will now be referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee. And Honourable Burke will now proceed with his speech. And please wrap up, Honourable Burke. We have spent enough time.
I will conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, by saying that looters continue to haunt government departments. And not only are they making a killing, they seem to be doing an awful lot of killing. And this must stop. We must arrest the decline of the state and arrest those who loot and shoot. We don't need to look far to find them.
We will now proceed to the Honourable Paulson.
Chair, just before the Honourable Paulson.
Honourable Paulson, unfortunately, the Honourable uMkhonto wants to raise a point. Honourable uMkhonto.
It's not an
Order, Honourable Members.
It's not, unfortunately, Deputy Speaker. My hand have been long up and you have not recognized it.
My apologies,
So it's
Honourable
not,
uMkhonto. Please proceed.
unfortunately.
Honourable Members, I'm trying to listen to what the Honourable uMkhonto is saying. Honourable McPherson, I will get to you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, one must note that every time that you are presiding over this House, the House always falls into utter chaos because you are biased towards your members. Had you let that member withdraw from the first instinct and not allow a follow-up point of order, the House would have not decayed in the manner that you had to even actually name members. So one must note, every time that you take that seat, you are utterly biased towards your party and you are not presiding this House equally and fairly. And it's an utter shame and it's very unfortunate that you have taken up a role as the Deputy Speaker and you are not presiding to this House pertaining to the rules that we have adopted. But we will take it further on the platforms that we are having as whips. We'll take it further on that platform. But one must note, on this appropriation bill that is vitally so important for many communities that are looking towards it, that you are portraying such bias, presiding efforts on that chair, and that is utter irresponsibleness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Nklangwini, but I would really want your speaker now to proceed with his speech. Honourable Mani, except if you don't want the Honourable Paulson to proceed at this point. Please proceed.
Speaker, I just want to put on record that indeed you are very emotional sitting there. Number one. Number two, I want to put on record that you did not make a ruling that these mics must be switched off. The reason we had to stand up is because some of the people that are controlling these gadgets, they made their own decision without your ruling to switch things off. And now you are busy saying we're unruly by standing up here, and yet you say nothing about your own staff here that is busy switching the mics off. Thirdly, the point that you ruled me on, I rose on Rule 85. I talked about imputing improper motives. Honourable Reddy raises on a different point on a different point on Rule 82, and you conflate the two, and you punish him for something that is fresh, is Rule 82, and you had ruled on me on Rule 85. So indeed, we'll take your rulings to the Rules Committee, and we'll deal with you at that level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Mani. I will also take Rule 69C to the Rules Committee and the other structures in Parliament. Honourable Paulson, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, today the Economic Freedom Fund...
My apologies. Please take your seat. The Honourable McPherson, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I'd like to address you on a point of privilege, specifically to the points that you had ruled on, because I think that the House needs to consider the issue that the Honourable Burke was raising, and which a number of members had risen in terms of 82.3 and 85.2. Now, if the Honourable Burke or any other member refers to the known conduct that has been adjudicated in a commission of inquiry that no member in this House has taken on review, that is not an issue of public debate. That is an issue and an outcome of a judicial commission of inquiry and stands as fact. And therefore, it cannot be an impugning of a member when people have come and testified before a commission of inquiry, and then those matters are related back into this House. And I think, Honourable Deputy Speaker, that needs to be reflected on. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, I have already ruled on that matter. I also allowed the Honourable Nklangwini to speak quite extensively. Honourable McPherson, I had already ruled on the matter. Honourable Paulson, please proceed.